train is a place where people can share their innermost secrets. They do this because they will never meet those fellow travelers with whom they rode in the same carriage. But that's not my story. It's not about how I met someone and told someone something. It's about something else, more mystical and scary. I was on my way to Annapur once. The journey took about 2 days. Surprisingly, I was alone in the compartment. There were no fellow travelers. It was probably because he had the number 13. Yes, and the car had the same number. I'm not a superstitious person, so I didn't really care. But do people really not take tickets to this or that place because of a certain number? And if they don't have a choice, what then? At first, I was glad that no one was there, but then it got a little boring. Evening came. The next day, at lunchtime, the train should arrive at its destination. I didn't expect anyone to sit next to me, but no, to my surprise, 2 people entered the compartment, a man in his 40s and a young girl of very attractive appearance. At first, I thought they were a couple, and I don't even know why, but then when the conductor came to give out the bed linen and check the tickets, I realized that they weren't together. I've never wondered why Russian Railways employees check tickets at the entrance, and then, after the train starts moving, they go and check them on the carriage. But then it struck me that the girl wasn't asked about the ticket or the bed linen, but the man was. Anyway, these passengers settled in, made up their bunks, and then started drinking tea and getting to know each other and me. We sat and talked until 11:30. They talked about everything. However, one fine minute I pleaded the lateness and took my leave. I had the bottom shelf, like the girls, and the man had the top shelf diagonally. The interlocutors agreed with me and also went to sleep. We turned off the lights. There was peace and quiet in our compartment. I fell asleep quickly, like a child. I had a dream about a lion attacking its prey as it eats. There were sounds like the bones of his food crunching, then he growled with pleasure. That's when I woke up. The compartment was pitch black. I looked to the right, where that girl's place was. When I looked closer, I realized that there was no one there. Besides the noise of the wheels, there was another sound, but I couldn't figure out what it was. Glancing at the top shelf, I saw some strange flickering. As my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I could make out the painting. There are 2 of them on the second shelf. A man and a woman is lying on it. When I could make out this extraneous noise, which was drowned out by the rumble of the wheels, I was seized with a wild fright. Is she eating him? A thought occurred to me. Yes, those sounds were slurping, wheezing, and moaning. The girl devoured the still alive man, which made him gasp and groan in pain. What happens if she sees that I'm awake? This thought gave me goosebumps. Then I started thinking about escape options, get up abruptly and run to the door. And suddenly she, or it, has great power. Yes, it does. She somehow coped with this man, and he's healthy. There's no chance here. What should I do? What should I do? These torments literally squeezed my heart. I wanted to sink through the ground just to leave this damn compartment. I wasn't, and after these thoughts, I sat down, looking down at the floor. The movements on the second shelf stopped. I felt a throbbing in my temples from fear, and cold sweat poured down my face. Nothing happened, but it seemed like the thing on the top shelf was looking at me, devouring me, waiting for me to look up, but I continued to stare at the floor. Sitting in the same place, I slowly turned around to leave, and then I also slowly stood up, taking a very long step towards the door. I felt like I was being punched in the chest. The adrenaline rush was so strong. There was no reaction from this predator. I opened the door, went out into the hallway and, without turning around, closed it with my back to the sleeping shelves, sliding it back in. Once outside, I breathed a sigh of relief. How did I feel at that moment? Tiredness, wild tiredness. Tell the guide. Or not. I won't. You never know who will get hurt. With these thoughts, I wandered like a zombie towards the toilet. As I passed the last compartment, I saw that it was open and there was an empty seat. I went into it and lay down. I had a picture in front of my eyes of that girl with huge teeth, devouring the poor guy, and then attacking me, and then the other passengers. With such thoughts, I fell asleep. They woke me up in the morning saying, "Did you drink too much yesterday?" When I opened my eyes, I saw a man and a guide. It turns out that I took the place of the person who was supposed to get hooked in the morning. Which compartment are you from? The controller turned to me. Since the 13th, I replied, puzzled, to which she said dismissively, "Well, they definitely drank too much." Which is the 13th compartment? Stop joking around. Go to your place. And I got up and went. I went to my compartment number 13, expecting to see a terrible picture there. And you know what? It was as if nothing had ever happened. My things are not in it, and the number with the number 13 on the door was missing, but there was a brooch on the floor in the shape of a panther, which belonged to that predatory girl. I stood in a stupor, not understanding what was happening. An employee of the train took me out of it. "Man, what are you doing here?" "This is a service compartment." To which I replied in surprise, "How?" "I have a ticket that says that my seat is in this compartment, number 13. She asked me to leave the room, then, after checking my details, she went and checked her log. And she said that my place was in number 12, and there was no compartment with the number 13. Her words are verbatim. When I moved into the next compartment, I saw my things. They were just neatly laid out in my place, and my ticket was lying on the bag under the table. When I looked at it, I saw the number. There was a clear number 13 covering the number 12. The most frightening thing about this situation was that there were crumpled things of that man on the top shelf. I clearly remember what he was wearing and what kind of bag he had. It was his stuff, definitely. When we arrived in Annapurna, I flew out of the train like a bullet. Passing by the window of the 13th compartment, I saw that girl, who was standing and smiling maliciously. Her hands were stained with blood. She was licking her fingers and winking at me. This sight made my skin crawl again, and my heart clenched with fear. "Hello, my friend," I heard, which made me jump in fright. "What's the matter with you? You don't have a face on you." It was my friend who came to meet me. Indeed, as he later told me, I was pale, as if I had seen a ghost. I turned around and looked at that window again, but there was no one there. That's what it was all about. What kind of compartment is this that doesn't exist? After this incident, I always check the tickets, so that I don't accidentally bump into that ghostly number 13, which covers the real compartment number.